that we care and appreciate the healthcare workers that are on the front lines.
I think just with that sense of humanity and how we've all been able to come together, at a family level, at a community level, society level, has been really beautiful to see.
The other creative thing, that we did was breaking down geographical walls. It no longer matters where you are from. What we thought was impossible became possible.
But if I had to name one thing that could make a positive impact on society and community, it would be creating spaces of collaboration and open dialogue between people who think differently, organizations who also think differently.
The most sustainable and impactful is to invest in people, regardless of the CSO leaders, employees, school teachers, students, whatsoever.
Support the entrepreneurs, because we really believe that entrepreneurs can make a big impact to the society. Usually entrepreneurs are the ones that are very, very visionary, trying to change or trying to make a positive impact and take a lot of risk.
I think we need to have the intention in everything we do, and if the products out there are not working, then we should spend time and effort into figuring out the products that communities or the target population need the most.
And I really think this is a great time for us to take the opportunity to recalibrate and fix what wasn't working before.
When I look at the next 10 years ahead and thinking about what would make the biggest impact, to me, it's around gender empowerment and giving opportunities, equal opportunities to girls as boys have had.
Next 10 years, we'll be hitting our Sustainable Development Goals target. And now with the current pandemic situation, it's really critical that transformational partnerships happen. But I think these two areas of looking at girls' education, gender equality, and climate action will be the ones which will require most time and effort.
It'll be improving the world through the next generation of young people, because they're the ones that will inherit whatever it is that we have today.
And this generation is making their choices with the decisions that they make. So the companies that they decide to join, the jobs that they decide to take, the causes they decide to support. And that, I think, is going to be the one that makes a big difference.
We need to come together, but we need the youth, the enthusiasm, the knowledge that they're bringing on board, the new approaches to the problems that they see. We need to re-engage with the youth and make sure together we solve some of these problems.
Who will make the biggest impact is ecosystem. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together.
A livelihood is going to be the biggest lever, I feel, when it comes to bringing, people out of poverty, bringing them, long-term solution. I think that's where, businesses at all levels can and must, do a part in this whole scheme of things.
It's not like each organization, each country have their own solution, but we should be a part of a bigger solution.
We have to think about this urgently. We don't have the luxury of time.
It's really important to start.
Borobudur and its surrounding is like one spirit that brings serenity, a conquered heaven. Borobudur leaves so much meaning to the people around it, true happiness. Look at their faces. In this empty hallway, it's like we are invited to appease ourselves before we see all the collection inside. As one of the biggest art collector in Indonesia, he will astonish you with his painting collection. Here you can get genuine tranquility while tasting delicacy dishes. Did you see a small version of the Borobudur? It's so wonderful. You can pass the time by conversing heart to heart. Enjoy the nightfall. Spoils oneself. Enjoy the motionless solitude. Enjoy the nature. Meditate. Feel the nudge of the water. Dancing with your free thoughts. And express your soul. Feel their honorable greeting. One of the reasons why you will want to come back here again someday. A unique story that you can see the chronicle story in chronological order if you walk in a clockwise direction. The Borobudur Temple becomes the center of all the beauty surrounding it. A spiritual experience that's different and you can never find in any other temple on earth. Even coming here dozens of times won't feel enough because of its indescribable beauty. Never change.
AVPN is the network of funders and resource providers, and our mission is to drive capital towards impact. AVPN is in a continent where wealth is being created faster than anywhere else in the world. There is an enormous opportunity for newly created wealth holders to create social impact, to actually leave behind a far more socially inclusive society.
Today, we recognize that the problems that we're facing are so complex and systemic that collaboration and knowledge sharing is absolutely critical more than ever before.
So AVPN is really important for Asia to help build that knowledge and to build that infrastructure to support players who are moving into philanthropy and investing, social investing, impact investing, doing it in a more organized, strategic, effective way, rewriting the rulebook for how we solve problems.
AVPN has members from 33 different countries, and we have market representatives in 11 of those markets to engage with key members within those ecosystems.
这些会员他们的背景都是非常多元的，我们可以看到有很多的慈善组织，有基金会，有慈善家，也有这个在一线工作的非常创新的社会组织。
AVPN is the biggest network right now in connecting different impact capital owners.
We're doing it by breaking down boundaries and preconceptions about who can do what to solve what problems. You have access to this strength of regional resources as well as, global expertise that's coming into Asia.
When we think about how we're creating value for our members, we look at connecting them to one another to find collaboration and knowledge sharing opportunities. We look at providing learning opportunities for them, and we also provide them leadership opportunities. And we do this through a number of products and services. Our Deal Share platform is how we allow members to share the organizations that they have invested in with the broader network to help with due diligence and deal sourcing. We also have our Knowledge Center where we provide insights for members to think about how they can be investing better, how they can maximize the impact. And then we think about ways that our members can connect to policymakers through our Asia Policy Forum, or how we can use our platform to really drive actionable opportunities to get it out in front of investors.
I believe very strongly that we all want to do better. I also believe that we need a community in order to do better well.
Nothing in the world exists in isolation. We cannot achieve anything on our own. It's equally important that you have the right collaboration at the right time for the right reason. And that's where AVPN comes in with support and plays the role of an enabler.
AVPN provides the platform as well as a framework where social investors come in, they can learn, they can benefit from learnings from one another, and essentially not repeat challenges or mistakes encountered by other organizations, and move on the journey towards collective impact.
To make capital work better.
AVPN creates a multiplier effect. The money that's invested actually can go a lot farther when you're working with the right partners and you're tapping into an entire community's worth of insights.
It is not about just getting people in a room. It's actually getting people in a room with a mission, with a clear objective, and with a plan on achieving that objective.
AVPN members are choosing to be part of this powerful network because they're looking for opportunities to connect with other organizations and investors that have similar goals in mind, that are looking at solving similar problems in the region.
If we are to help drive multi-sector collaboration, if we are to bring together government, private sector capital, and civil society, it is almost impossible to do that without the existence of a network. Although AVPN has had a meteoric rise, I think we are still scratching the surface.
We feel that our work has just begun, and we think that the future looks bright given the openness in terms of the post-pandemic recovery, and we look to seize that opportunity to have an impact.
If we are to build back better towards a more equal society, that we actually see the deployment of capital in both a strategic and impactful manner.
Yang akan kami katakan terhadap para pemangku kepentingan, sudah saatnya kita bergerak bersama untuk mencapai keberdampakan sosial yang efektif dan efisien.
AVPN created a very good platform for all of us to come together and reassemble into a new form of vehicles to rethink what we have been doing in the past, recollecting all these efforts for the future.
I'm also really excited that Asia is now becoming more of a leader in those efforts.
Be part of a community that believes in action together.
Labuan Bajo. Selamat datang di Pulau Surga, di mana alam berbaur bersama jiwa. Di sini kami memberi lebih dari sekedar keindahan. Di sini kami menawarkan kebudayaan. Di tempat ini kami menciptakan kerinduan. Dan di sini kami membuka pengalaman, menggali lebih dalam, lebih dari sekedar menikmati alam.
Hello. Hello everyone, please take a seat. We are going to start shortly. Come on in and take a seat, please. We are going to start any minute now. Okay, hi everyone. Some housekeeping rules before we start. The AVPN Global Conference 2022 is hosted by Indonesia's Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy and is one of the official side events of the G20. This morning's plenaries will be live streamed not only to the AVPN community but also on YouTube Live. We encourage everyone to follow the health protocols, so wear a mask, sanitize and wash hands regularly, and keep a safe distance. If you haven't already done so, do download the AVPN Events app. The QR code is at the back of your ID card. And lastly, all the people wearing a red lanyard will be your best friend in the next few days. A red lanyard means an AVPN team member, so please feel free to approach one for questions or help. And for those of you who ask, where is the AVPN concierge? Well, this is it. And now, could we please rise? As we open the event with Indonesia's national anthem. Please take your seats. Good morning, or as they say in wonderful Indonesia, selamat pagi. A very warm welcome to the AVPN Global Conference 2022. I am Dorothy Cheng, and I belong to the largest social investment network in Asia. A huge part of AVPN's success is because of all of you, all our members and partners. Thank you to each one of you who have made this conference possible and for journeying together with AVPN on 10 glorious years of moving capital towards impact. As I stand here and marvel at the sea of faces in this room, I can hardly believe that it has been 3 years since our last physical conference in 2019. Time has a wonderful way of showing us what really matters. The one conversation that has flourished during the pandemic is how society has changed its values. Social investments have moved from the sidelines to the mainstream, from the back burner to a bonfire. Our revolution has arrived. Do you hear the people sing? This is the decade for action, the decade for disruption. This is the Asian decade. This is our Asian decade. AVPN, together with all our members, we will move mountains in the Asian decade. We will recover together and most certainly recover stronger. It is the future that we bring when tomorrow comes. Leading our precious community is the wise person who once declared, "We are all social investors." Please join me in welcoming the wise and the fearless Nena Sabowal Batra, CEO of AVPN, to deliver the welcome address.
Selamat pagi. Good morning. His Excellency Bapak Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Government of Indonesia, Her Excellency Ibu Angela Tanosobijo, Vice Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Government of Indonesia, distinguished guests from Kemenparekraf, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat datang. Welcome to the AVPN Global Conference, the world's largest networking event for social investors interested in Asia and the Pacific region. It is a blessing to stand before you, to see all of you today morning. It's been 3 years since I've done this. Yes, 3 difficult years since the last in-person AVPN conference. And I am beyond gratitude to say how grateful we are that you have all journeyed from far and wide to make it here. The AVPN conference in 2019 had 1,243 delegates. The AVPN conference today has 1,104. So thank you for coming back. As Dorothy mentioned, this year we celebrate our 10th anniversary. I can't believe it, we're 10 years old, we're in double digits. And over the last decade, we have grown, you have grown, into the largest network of social investors active in the Asia-Pacific region, with over 600 of you that belong to this platform and come from 33 markets. For the last decade, we have been building a regional impact ecosystem where all social investors in Asia-Pacific can collaborate together to address the SDGs and the issues that are important to us in our region. It is the only platform in the world where you can see catalytic collaborations between policymakers, between family offices, between foundations, and between government to come together to increase the flow of capital towards impact and really look at how do we close the SDG gaps that face our region. This year, we are especially humbled and delighted to be an official impact partner for the Indonesian government's presidency of the G20, where we have established a platform for all of your voices that can actually be reflected in that meeting through a paper that we are going to be presenting. I want to thank all of you in this room today and those of you watching from home for the support and the collaboration you have provided AVPN. You have walked with us, you have pushed us, you have encouraged us, you have supported us wholeheartedly in this journey, and we could not be here today without your support. So I would like to get a sense of who all are in this room today. Can I request you all to stand? So if this is your first AVPN conference, will you take a seat? Wow. Welcome to AVPN's family. We are so glad that you're here, and we can tell you that this is not going to be your last AVPN conference. If this is your second AVPN conference, take a seat. If this is your third AVPN conference, take a seat. If you've been with us 4 times, please sit down. If you have been with us 5 times, please sit down. Okay, not so many left now. If you have been with us 6 times, please sit down. And now is a trick question. If you have been with us all 7 conferences, stay standing. Wow. I especially want to recognize Doug Miller, our founder chair, without whose vision this network would not have been possible. Our chairperson, Buvera, without whose support we would not be here. And Kevin Teo, my Chief Operating Officer, who's the first employee of AVPN. I also want to acknowledge Simon Chadwick, who was the first CEO of AVPN and was there for more conferences than me. Thank you, guys. So why does AVPN even exist? Why are we here? Asia now holds 42% of the total global wealth, and it's witnessing the largest transfer of capital between generations. But rapid economic development is coinciding with increasing inequality, with vast gaps in areas such as renewable energy, healthcare, and gender. The pandemic has not helped. It's had a severe impact on the region, and the estimated funding gap has now doubled to $4.2 trillion a year. $4.2 trillion a year is what it's going to take us to if we want to achieve the SDGs by 2030. So what does this really do? It creates an amazing opportunity for all of you in the room. It creates an amazing opportunity for the social investment ecosystem in Asia Pacific to leapfrog the rest of the world. And we do that so well, don't we? The time for us, the time for Asia is now. And that is why we are doubling down on our efforts to put Asian voices on center stage. When we last met in person in 2019, we launched our first impact community in climate. We launched one on gender the following year, and I'm delighted to welcome the members of the Asia Gender Network, who have met for the first time because of the pandemic. This year, we are going to be launching our latest community platform focused on youth employability and entrepreneurship. Impact communities create a catalytic approach to philanthropy and bring together our members to address systems and structures around entrenched problems that are faced in the region. We invite all of you to join us in our shared ambition to achieve transformative impact. And as I said before, there is no better platform than the upcoming G20, which is why the output of this week will be added to the main agenda of the G20 leaders meet. But all of you know, deploying capital is not enough. Our experience has shown that over the last decade, the way philanthropy and social investment has been approached in the West may not work here in our region. Ultimately, the solutions to the challenges that we face in our region will come from this room, will come from our own communities, and will come from our discussions that we have, not just here, but in different forums across the Asia-Pacific region. We launched the AVPN Academy last year so that practitioners can learn from each other what works best in this region. We must learn together so that we can achieve the impact that we desire sooner. Later this year, with support from Schmidt Futures, we will run a fellowship program to empower philanthropy advisors in this region with the skills that they need to achieve transformative social impact for our region. Despite the tremendous innovation that is taking place across Asia-Pacific, our region is often ignored on the global stage. In spite of Asia being home to more than 63% of the world's population, a lot of times when I step up on global forums to speak, I am the only Asian. Our region is important, and that is why this gathering celebrates the most innovative and transformative models and leaders that are from the Asia-Pacific region and focused on Asia-Pacific. Today, as we said, our region faces a huge gap in order to meet the SDGs, and we have to rethink how impact capital is both deployed and accumulated. In order for philanthropy to be effective and truly a catalyst for change, the power dynamic has to shift. It has to shift to those who are at the front line. And here at AVPN, we believe in walking the talk. The importance of trust-based philanthropy cannot be overstated. And our pool funds are Asia's examples of how we can really galvanize the catalytic power of philanthropy to help Asia-Pacific organizations working with communities in hard-to-reach areas build their own capacity. Everybody wants to do systems change. Everybody wants to do transformative impact. But that's not really possible unless you have a sizable pipeline of organizations that are working on the ground. All of us, as a network of resource providers and funders, exist because there are amazing social organizations on the front line driving impact. We exist because they are focusing on the most pressing social and environmental needs in our region. And that is why we have deployed more than $11 million in unrestricted funding in our pool funds and have an ambitious target to fundraise for a $25 million gender fund to support the economic empowerment of women and girls in our region. Our funds thus far have supported organizations addressing last-mile primary healthcare solutions, maternal, newborn, and child health and nutrition solutions, COVID recovery and resilience for frontline heroes and underserved communities, digital transformation in nonprofit organizations, and solutions to bring more women and girls into STEM careers. A few of the organizations that we have supported through our pool funds are here at the conference, and I hope you take the opportunity to meet them and hear their inspirational stories. These funds are a great example of how, when we collaborate more effectively, we can align resources more efficiently to where they are needed. But collaboration, trust, and alignment of impact are not new ideas, and they're not ours alone. In fact, they are only a few of the shared best practices that you have shared with us and our partners. We have partnered with Economist Impact in developing the 10 principles for social investment in Asia, And we are proud to launch this landmark report in partnership with The Economist on Asia's principles of social investment. You can read more about The Economist report at the AVPN hub, which is located on a floor above us outside. And once again, we are proud to recognize the recipients of AVPN's Constellation Awards. These are the only awards that recognize our members who build partnerships by breaking down silos and partnering with unusual allies to collaborate and catalyze social investment in our region. The recipients of the Constellation Awards will be announced at the welcome dinner tonight, and I hope you are all going to be there to cheer on these winners. So in closing, I told you right now, why are we here? So in closing, I'd like to ask you, why are all of you here? Why have 1,100 of you journeyed from far and wide to come here? Right now, there are global crises and decisions that are being made on how best to approach them, with very few voices from Asia sitting at the table. Only you can change that. The AVPN network belongs to you. It is your network, your platform. You need to take ownership and responsibility of this platform to turn your ideas into action. Over the last 10 years, we have built the infrastructure for the social investment ecosystem to come together. We have provided you this platform, the largest in the world, to connect and align. We have created pooled funds to catalyze your social investment. We have leveraged our regional knowledge and field expertise to build capacity and share learnings across the ecosystem. We have curated impact communities to increase coordinated action towards critical impact fields like gender, climate, youth, and health. We have done our part. Now it is your turn. All we ask of you is to step up as an Asian leader and take the stage. Pick a partner this week to collaborate and decisively act to move capital towards impact in Asia Pacific now. Thank you very much and have a wonderful conference.
Thank you, Naina. The AVPN platform belongs to you, as does the Asian Decade, so let's rise up. Albert Einstein once said, "Three great forces rule the world: stupidity, fear, and greed." Unfortunately, as brilliant as he was, Einstein overlooked an even greater force that rules the world, and that is the force for good. As businesses and societies work towards being a force for good, the future of social investments in the Asian Decade is bright and shining because investment in goodness never fails. Our next plenary is the future of social investments in the Asian Decade. Please welcome Boon Hyung, Deputy CEO of Temasek Trust and CEO of Temasek Foundation, Dr. Satrijo Tanatjoyo, Global CEO, Tenato Foundation, and Naina Sabah Batra, CEO of AVPN, to share their insights and reflections. Let's be patient as we sort out some technical issues.
Okay, we are, just put it off and on, I think. All right, well, I hope you all listened to my speech because I'm not going to repeat it again. It sets the stage of why we are having this conversation. Asia, as we all know, is on the cusp of doing really great things. There is a lot of wealth here, but there is also a lot of economic inequality. We need innovative solutions to achieve the SDGs. And in Asia Pacific, we are very innovative. We think of interesting models, we replicate, we learn, we tweak, and we do things at a scale and speed that is sometimes not seen anywhere else. So it's interesting for us to have this conversation today with two of the leading organizations in the Southeast Asia region. A lot of times, when people think of Asia, they stop at India. Or they think of China as somebody, who is over the wall. And a lot of times, for all of us here in Southeast Asia, we are largely ignored. But there are some really, really amazing things happening in social investment in Southeast Asia. And by social investment, I mean looking across the continuum of capital, right from philanthropy all the way to impact investment. And I'm really delighted to share the stage with two amazing gentlemen. They're also good friends of mine, so I'm being really nice to them. Boon Hyung, who comes and represents the wonderful work that Temasek is doing through its foundation and through its trust. And Dr. Satrijo from Tanoto Foundation, which I'm sure all of you here in Indonesia are not a stranger to, but who have also done some really amazing work in the field of education, nutrition, and other development areas. So I want to start by asking Boon Hyung the first question. So what I would like to know, Boon Hyung, is Temasek Holdings is a global investment company headquartered in Singapore. All of us know about Temasek. And Temasek Trust is a steward of philanthropic assets, gifts, and endowments. From your position, what are you seeing in terms of the big shifts in sustainable development? And where is Temasek looking to play a role in these developments?
Thank you, Naina. It's a pleasure to be here in Bali. Selamat pagi to everybody. So as Naina has mentioned, Temasek Holdings, Temasek Trust and Temasek Foundation actually forms the philanthropic arm of Temasek Holdings, the investment company. So the investment companies, as at last year, we have a portfolio value of 381 billion. But a large part of our investment is actually in Asia, but we are headquartered in Singapore. Now, what are the shifts we see? I will just highlight, I think, three big points. The first one, I think Naina has actually highlighted earlier, that there's increasing recognition, right, that Asia is coming of age, both in terms of needs and also in terms of opportunities. Now, just some high-level data points, 60% of the world population resides in Asia, right? Greater than 50% of emissions actually comes from Asia. 3 of the 4 most populous countries resides in Asia. That's the US, India, China, and of course Indonesia, right? And more than 75% of Southeast Asia are internet users. And important is that many sectors in Asia are in the early stages of development, which presents a huge opportunities for investors. Now, if we find innovative solutions to the needs of Asia, now we actually can solve a critical part of the problems of the world. So that's the first point I want to make. Now, the second point I want to make is that investment in the betterment of people and the betterment of planet is increasingly becoming a license to operate. And there's demand from a shift from shareholder to stakeholder value, and that is anchored by the twin pillars of good governance and sustainability, right? So many people ask us, why is there a Temasek Trust and a Temasek Foundation? That's really anchored by our belief of good governance in separation of power, right? So Temasek Trust manages the money. Temasek Foundation uses the money to meet the needs of the people. So, and really the people that's required to look at financial investments, utilize financial instruments and the platform, the talents required is very different from the people who does program delivery at the foundation. We have also, over the years, begin to build upon the investment capabilities of Temasek Holdings and built up an organic in-house impact investment and asset management team within Temasek Trust. And our programs are all funded out of endowments so that we could plan on a multi-year basis, because we believe that if you want to deliver long-term sustainable impact, you cannot go year by year. You know, you need to plan multi-year so that there's scalability in terms of impact. So that's the second thing. I think it's a license to operate anchored by the twin pillars of good governance and sustainability. The third shifts that we are beginning to see is that there's a shift from checkbook philanthropy to being more an active investor in social impact, right? So we use philanthropic funds as risk capital so that we could scale multi-sector, multi-stakeholder collaboration to deliver long-term sustainable impact. Because today and tomorrow's problems are just so complex and wicked that no one organization, no one sector, no one geography could solve problems of today and tomorrow. So collaboration is key. Now, last year, I'll just quickly end with, last year, alongside several key partners, including AVPN, we organized an inaugural Philanthropy Asia Summit, comprising principals of philanthropic organizations, banks, family offices, and including regulators in Singapore, focus on bringing funding together to support call to actions. Actually, we saw a very good turnout. Now, at the encouragement of like-minded partners, Temasek Trust will be or is setting aside an endowment to work alongside like-minded partners to start and begin to bring together funders to grow a Philanthropic Asia Alliance to deliver on the SDG so that we can collectively work on SDG 17, which is Partnership for the Goals. Yeah, with that, I'll just hand over to Naina.
Thank you, Boon Yong. And I think, a couple of things that you said really resonated with me. You're a large, very, very large investment fund. And obviously, profit and purpose is so important that Temasek is now focusing a large part of its energies on looking at creating impact in everything that they do. The other thing that I thought you said, which really resonated, was how can you use philanthropy as catalytic capital in order to drive impact at scale. I want to use that to come to my other guest, Dr. Satrijo. So as a private foundation, Dr. Satrijo, Tanoto has worked to provide equal opportunities to the community. Likewise, you have also started looking at social investment across the continuum. I want to understand from you, how has your strategy changed? I mean, Boon Yong talked a little bit about how Temasek's viewpoint and strategy has changed. What about the Tanoto Foundation? And how is it linked to what the business is trying to do?
Thank you, Naina. Good morning to everybody. I'm very happy to be here. Very happy with Naina here and with Boon Yong, our friends. Temasek is our partner too. And I see a lot of partners here also, so thank you. Actually, the transformation started 4 years ago, that the Tanoto family generously put an endowment fund. So that shift from, I like the way that Boon Yong put it, from social giving, I would like to translate it, into a social investment. That means, because by putting the endowment fund, then it can be sustainable. Right? The endowment fund is managed by the family office, obviously, and Tanoto Foundation manages how to use the money properly. And at that time, we asked ourselves, what do we do? And we operate in Indonesia, Singapore, and China. And, let me just put the example of Indonesia. Indonesia, we say that the focus in education. But education is a very wide scope. And the question is, if we want to focus in education, what do we do in Indonesia? So I said before that we want from social giving to social investment. Investment means that there is, in business, there's a profit. And in social investment, that means not only a profit, but actually more than that is the impact. So first of all, we are impact-based. Secondly is when we ask ourselves, what do we do in Indonesia for the field of education? Then we work together with Asian Philanthropic Circle and with Jarum Foundation, and together with McKinsey, we say, where do we go in? And we found out that in Indonesia, there are 4 pillars. Number one is the early childhood education. That means the children, they are not ready, or the readiness to school is very low. Secondly is the quality of the teachers and the principals need to be upgraded. Some people say that, not some people say, but the statistics show that Indonesia, for the elementary school, the enrollment rate is already 98%. So we are not short of schools. And the SMP, or the junior high school, actually the enrollment rate is very close to 80%. We are not short of school. So what happened is because of the quality of the teachers and the principal need to be upgraded. And the fourth one actually is the vocation training. So with this evidence, Tanoto Foundation decided that we go into early childhood education quality for the principals and for the teachers. So therefore, we invest very much in that. And until now, and the way we do it together, working with the government as our partners, and also with like-minded organizations. Now come the COVID-19. You know, the COVID-19 actually was, it's very bad for us, for all of us. We learned a lot, though. When it happened, then we were struck for 2 weeks, and we say, what do we do? I think everybody had that experience. What do? We all stayed home. Do we want to just do nothing, just have breakfast in the morning, lunch, and then dinner, and then sleep? So we decided that, no, we cannot do nothing. And the family, Tanoto family, is also very much involved in the decision that we need to really step up even and do more, because we need to help the government together with the people to make sure, because we work in education, so therefore to make sure that the education also moving on. So we say we do sprint. That means we change our way of doing to digitalization. And then now we are running marathon, right? Because until now we are still running this marathon, and we continue to really go into because I think this COVID-19 taught us one thing, is that we can do things differently. And therefore, our strategy is impact, and then evidence-based with partnership. And then, of course, now we want to continue the marathon with digitalizing the way we work. I hope that explains. I talk a lot.
No, not at all. It really does. And I think, when you talk about impact as being mainstream, I want to bring you in, Bunyong, because I feel like Temasek has been talking a lot about intentionality of impact, talking about a journey towards impact investing. You have just launched your Center for Impact Investing and Practices. How important is intentionality, and how do you view impact investing?
Thank you, Naina. So Temasek Trust and Temasek Foundation was set up in 2007, right? So over the last 15 years, I would say 15 years, we've been focused on grant making, developing programs, finding solutions. But just like what Naina has highlighted earlier, you need more than $4 trillion financial gap to be able to deliver on the SDGs. And the ability to crowd in private capital will offer significant hope and promise, right? But impact-oriented investments offers the promise. Impact-oriented investment offer the promise, but the spectrum itself is so wide and consideration so diverse, right? It's so diverse. Now, with finite resources and operating capabilities at hand, we at Temasek Trust have decided to focus our resource and capabilities towards impact investing, besides simply grant giving. So over the last 3 years, we piloted impact investing with a group of friends and families, raised $300 million in impact fund called ABC Impact. Some of my colleagues here are among here in the audience as well. to do what? To deliver both on impact and to deliver market returns. Yeah, both impact and market returns. The fund is actually tracking well. I think it's by now about 70–80% deployed. The fund is tracking well. The team is actually considering or exploring the feasibility of raising a second fund. Now, the success of this maiden impact fund validated our analysis or our thesis of the potential and opportunities to scale impact investing in Asia to meet the demands of the SDG, and so that we can crowd in, the leverage of the private capital. Now, like what Naina has mentioned, assessing intentionality is key to impact investing, and it needs to be evaluated ex ante. That means to say before an investment is made, right? It must be embedded right from the onset. I would say comprising both the impact and investment thesis alongside a twin inverted commas hurdle rate, right? And it should not be just bolted on after the investments are made. So our impact team at ABC Impact get a sense of intentionality through various channels. You can look at the company's charter, you can look at the company's constitution, you can speak and interview to the management team and to the board of directors, right? You can look at the past activities, and you can also access future plans at the investor level, at the operating level, and also at the ecosystem level. But having said that, a systematic approach is required so that we can assure investors' confidence and also give a chance to scale impact investing. And so like what Naina also has mentioned, last week we launched the Center of Impact Investing and Practices alongside the release of the report, Scaling Impact in Asia. The intent is really to share real-life stories, raise awareness of the various opportunities that's available in Asia, right? Bring people together so that we can cross-learn from each other. And it is our hope that eventually we could establish common lexicons, raise common and high standards for Asia. We partner with UNDP to develop SDG investor maps by countries, starting with Indonesia. Actually, Indonesia was just launched about a month ago. Now, so together with the Center of Impact Investing and Practices, the SDG investor maps will help to identify opportunities for impact investing so that investors can come in and scale this with confidence. CIIP is hosting a breakout session immediately after this. So we invite everybody to partake and participate if you want to find out more.
Thanks, Boon Yong. Now I'm going to go off script, which is always dangerous, but something a little controversial. So Boon Yong talked a lot about intentionality of impact, and I agree with that. I think we have to be intentional about impact. We have to see that the impact is there before we make the investment. But he also talked about impact investing that provides impact returns and market returns. Now that is something that is a very bold statement, and from a fund like Temasek, we obviously, all of us, believe it. But a lot of us here in this room today are practicing philanthropy, are practicing grant making. A lot of the issues actually in Asia require grant making, but yet impact investing is what is attracting more interest, especially from the next generation. So Satwijo, I'm going to ask you this, because you work with a family that is a next generation, or there is a transfer of wealth and also decision making to the next generation. You are leading the foundation which does a lot of grant making. What is the pressure to move from grant making to impact investing?
Actually, like what I mentioned before, is that the investment in terms of the financial investment is made by the family office, and then the Tanoto Foundation is using the money wisely. Now, in terms of the impact investment, the family office invested in some of the impact investment bodies, for example, Ruang Guru or Du Anyam. In doing so, actually, we also did something different. That means that, for example, with Ruang Guru, we said that we give our knowledge and then to a certain platform that they have. And in return, we also have the, I don't remember exactly, I think it's 12 months or 18 months that all our district partners, that means that the Kabupaten Kota, who are our partners, they can access for a year or so without any payment. Okay, so that's a part of what we do. And also with Duanyam, actually, what we did was that we invested in terms of the training of the people, the training of the women with the, the wicked weaving to produce the products that they produce. So that's what we do. But I want to say something about the social investment. It's not only impact investment in terms of impact investment money, but also the collaboration, the partnership. With UNDP in Indonesia, together with Bappenas, we created the SDG Academy Indonesia. And that is addressing very much of the SDG. But actually, I want to say that it also demonstrates one of the most important of the SDG goal, which is the last one, which is partnership. And that's what we are here for, actually, right? Is to look for a partnership that we can really collaborate together. And our collaboration with World Bank, for example, with UNICEF. With the World Bank, I can say a few words, is that, with the loan that the World Bank gave to Indonesia for fighting the stunting, $400 million, to operationalize that, they need the Multi-Donor Trust Fund. And I'm happy to say that Tanoto Foundation is a founding member of this Multi-Donor Trust Fund. But it's not only the grant, it is really the leverage. And with that, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation came in with multiple effect, and then the German Development Bank came in, and hopefully more and more will come in. So that's the leverage. But as I say, last words is that it's not only the leverage, but also it enables the loan to be executed, the 400 million. It also enables the budget of the government of Indonesia for stunting to be liberated, if you wish.
Absolutely, and I think that is exactly what the conference here represents. You will see a lot of people here that dabble in philanthropy, or are impact investors, or are doing both. But as both Satrijo and Boon Hyung said, it's all about collaboration. No one organization, not even the size of Temasek, or one government, not even the size of the government of Indonesia, or one large foundation, the size of Tanoto Foundation, can do it alone. So what is the reason we are all here? We are here to collaborate, to partner, to actually come at different points of that continuum of capital, to use philanthropic capital as a catalyst to scale impact, or to come into partnerships to make sure that impact is intentional. So I will leave it at that and say, I hope all of you find success in collaborating with each other, and wish you again a very successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina, Boon Hyung, and Dr. Satrijo. Could we please rise, ladies and gentlemen, for the arrival of His Excellency Bapak Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of the Republic of Indonesia. Thank you. Our next speaker is a retired four-star general, and he continued his service to the country as the Indonesia ambassador to Singapore in 2000. On December 31st, 2014, he was appointed as the Presidential Chief of Staff by President Joko Widodo, a newly created post within a cabinet in Indonesia. He is currently the Coordinating Minister of Maritime and Investment Affairs of Indonesia. Please welcome His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister of Maritime and Investment Affairs of Indonesia. We ask for your patience again as we sort out some technical issues. Minister Lahud is joining by Zoom, and so there's some connectivity issues at the moment. Okay.
Good morning to all of you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me share my slide about Indonesia post-pandemic economic recovery and economic transformation. Just to give you some understanding, better understanding about Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest archipelagic country in the world with a great potential. If you look at this slide, Indonesia consists of 17,000 islands something with 108,000 kilometer coastline, and we have 278 million population. Like 7 hours flying time from Sabang to Merauke, eastern part of Indonesia to the western part of Indonesia. And if you look at also abundance of natural resources, huge renewable energy potential. That's all about Indonesia. Indonesia vision 2045, becoming a developed country, that's our dream. And we have to work very hard to achieve that one. To realize the vision, Indonesia must be able to recover the economic after the pandemic and carry out economic transformation, and to increase economic growth to close to more than 6%. If you look at this chart, Indonesia GDP per capita, right now around $4,000 something, and we believe by 2030, we can go up to $10,000. That's, I think, our target. So we are trying very hard to do so. Then I will explain to you how do we do it. But the first thing that I would like to explain to all of you, how do we tackle about COVID? So Indonesian COVID-19 situation is under control, although a little bit number up with the BA4 and BA5, but hospital occupancy also still very low. Look at this number chart on the left. We are still doing very well. Hospitalization continues to drop, 97%, and low bed occupancy rate also. Death cases drop significantly, and positivity rate also drop quite significant. Despite global turmoil, Indonesian economic performance is among the best in the world today. If you look at this number, inflation rate still around 3.6%. And we believe we can manage this until end of this year, maybe below 5%. And exchange rate also, if you look at in the center, with Indonesia still doing very well, comparing some other countries. And then stock market also, if you look at stock market today, our stock market also still above 7,000 points. Rapid and strong economic recovery. If you look at the thing above us, Saudi Arabia and Vietnam, Indonesia nearly the same. And also Indonesian export growth is one of the best in the world today because this is downstream industry. I can also give you some numbers later on and also about the commodity price. If you look at also FDI, 2021 still up 28.5%. PMI also 2020 is 50.8. So Indonesia is transforming it's our economy, no longer relying on raw commodity. So used to be we just export raw material like nickel, ore, and right now we are going to move to the value added. So present iron and steel export increased so much. And right now we are preparing future lithium battery and EV, hopefully future lithium battery. The first one we're going to produce by first quarter 2024 with the NMC 811. Iron and steel export to the world, if you look at the left down, this is a thing back to 1915, only 1.2 billion US dollars, but last year nearly 21 billion US dollar, and this year we are predicting that it's going to be 29 or 30 billion US dollar. Record in 2021, I think the first time, even during the COVID, our export grew like 232 billion US dollar. And trade deficit with China used to be $17 billion in 2019, but if you look at last year, I think around 2 billion US dollar. And we believe this year we're going to be positive export to China. And we believe also that this one we can maintain in the near future because of a lot of things right now can be can produce in Indonesia. And next downstream project, new industry will develop in Kaltara. This is, I think, a game changer for Indonesia because the size of this industry is like 30,000 hectares, and we have like 10,000 megawatt hydropower and 10,000 solar panel and 2.9 TCF gas. So we're going to build under construction right now, biggest petrochemical industry. We hope by first quarter 2024, 2 lines are already in production. And in that area, we build also electronic alumina with the hydropower and also iron and steel, 9 million ton, and new energy battery, 265 gigawatt, which is, I think, we can produce equivalent to 3 million cars. Industrial and polycrystalline silicon, this is also the material, could also go to the superconductor. Now, investment value on this project is at 132 billion US dollars. So within the 4 years time, and I mentioned already like 160,000 labor, even higher than that. Downstream industry progress in Indonesia in the last 7 years, creating a more equal in Indonesia. Used to be a lot of foreign direct investment only in Java and Sumatra, but right now, if you look at right now in the eastern part of Indonesia, a lot of new integrated industries. So now the balance between east and west. Improving efficiency through digitalization, this is, I think, make Indonesia even better. So I mentioned already about the commodity price and also about downstream industry, and now efficiency through digitalized. Government expenditure is done through e-catalog and prioritized to buy local products produced by SMEs. If you are aware, government procurement is like 1,600 trillion a year, or equivalent to 135 billion US dollars. So if you can do it domestically, like 50%, that could trigger our economy even better than today, and also the education, the technology, also jobs. Simbara integrates all mineral and coal resources management data in Indonesia. We do hope this is going to finalize anytime this coming August. Increasing also port efficiency through port integration and implementation of the national logistic ecosystem. Because we understand our cost in that seaport is quite expensive comparing our neighbors in our Indonesia right now, 24%. We are trying to bring down to 17% because countries surrounding us only 14%. 17%, hopefully we can do it achieve by 2024. Investing in data center and submarine cable to support the digital economy, because before data center we have very small, but right now ongoing. We're going to maybe 1 gigawatt for a while, and then maybe later on we can go to the 2 gigawatt. This is also could reduce the corruption, could reduce costs, and could increase the state revenue and also local industry and small medium enterprises, which is, I think, we need it very much in Indonesia. In increasing village funds since 2015 has improved economic condition in villages. To be honest to you, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't realize the impact of these village funds bring our economy on the village much better than we expected, especially during the COVID the last 2 years. If you look at this one, now we increase the number of road in the village. You don't compare it to toll road, but the road on the village, it is 261,000 kilometers, bridges around 1,400 something, village markets for facility, clean water, irrigation, village owned, integrated. So that's, I think, make our economy very, very strong during the COVID the last 2 years. Now, ladies and gentlemen, look at now, Indonesia is blessed with abundant renewable resources, great investment opportunity in clean energy. We have like 437 gigawatt renewable energy, ocean, the tidal, geothermal, bioenergy, wind, or hybrid and solar. So you can invest also here, or you can be part of here in this project. So Indonesia is very, very care about the environment. So right now we plan already on about the early retirement of the coal fire for the next 10, 15 years. Indonesia is committed to develop of renewable energy, EBT, power plants 2021, 2030. The green RUPTL already here. You can see this one. All the data ready there. So we leave it to the investment, which one going to be part of this project. So been discussed also with the American side, with the many countries. If you wish to invest or to be part of this program, we are more than happy to accommodate. But during the G20, we're going to showcase like 600 megawatt in renewable energy, early retirement of power plant in Java. Energy transition is a key strategy toward green energy. Indonesia follows a two-track approach. public or philanthropic finance is used to incentivize private investment, accelerate retirement of fossil fuel plants, and increase investment renewables. The foundation of Indonesia energy transition is just transition. Indonesia is following a two-track approach. Number one, implement an ATM pilot by 2022 and launch a national country platform for energy transition. Number two, join the regional effort supported by the ATM Southeast Asia Partnership. Government of Indonesia ATM pilot project, a national effort to accelerate the process, will choose one CFPP for piloting the early retirement, targeting the end of 2022 to start the pilot project and to have a country platform for updating and institutionalization of the blended finance. So we believe blended finance is very important here, especially for developing country. So we established now what we call it Global Blended Finance Alliance. ATM Southeast Asia Partnership, a regional effort, use an MDB as the vehicle and currently doing a feasibility study and will start a pilot project in 2023. Now, the ATM country platform will tap into the global financing pool using the blended finance mechanism. This is, I think you can see, this is government philanthropies, the ATM country platform blended, and carbon reduction, carbon energy facilities. So you can see this one, the chart that you can adjust yourself. It can be part of any of this chart. Now, at the G20 presidency, Indonesia will play a role in the world economic recovery. So recover together and recover stronger. That's, I think, the theme. As a host of the G20 this year, Indonesia is providing a platform for world leaders to discuss how we can drive committed and collective action to ensure that we are inclusive in our recovery and leave no one behind. To all of you, ladies and gentlemen, I think for us, for the policymaker in Jakarta, we listen very much to the next generation of Indonesia, because the message that we receive from them, they keep telling us, don't make any wrong policy that against the interests of the next generation of Indonesia. So some people trying to convince us, I said to them, don't worry, we have a very big responsibility to the next generation of Indonesia. So we are not going to make any mistake or not going to make any policy against the interests of the next generation of Indonesia. This one, I think, a very strong message. Now, the conclusion of my remarks, ladies and gentlemen, in overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic, Indonesia has shown that we can solve the most complex problem as long as we can work together and use science, technology, and data as the basis of our policy. Don't put any politics in this, because this one is nothing to do with the politics. In the past 8 years, Indonesia has transformed its economy to be more efficient, resilient, industrialized, and less dependent on commodities. This is achieved through downstream industry, increasing efficiency through digitization, and rural economic transformation via village fund. Post-pandemic, we are facing bigger challenge in climate change. Indonesia is committed and focusing our policy on climate change and emission reduction, including energy transition. Indonesia cannot achieve its vision alone. The future of our shared prosperity relies on our objective ability to create an inclusive and sustainable ecosystem for growth. AVPN plays a vital role in this mission by bridging together public and private sector leaders from across the world to pool capital, technical assistance, and policy influence to unlock urgently needed resources in Asia. On behalf of the President of the Republic of Indonesia, I congratulate AVPN for the successful AVPN Global Conference 2029. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister of Maritime and Investment Affairs of Indonesia. In 2021, wonderful Indonesia was elected World's Best Creative Destination by Creative Tourism Awards. As Indonesia bounces back from the after effects of the pandemic, she is revitalizing the tourism sector and empowering the SME sector. Leading this amazing transformation is our next keynote speaker. Please welcome His Excellency Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of the Republic of Indonesia.
Thank you very much for the introductions. Let's begin with Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Namo Buddhaya. Warmest greeting to all of you. Salam kebajikan. And welcome to Bali, Indonesia, the island of the gods, the island of paradise. And this is very difficult to speak after your boss has already completed. This is Naina's way to punish me. But normally after the boss, he ranks obviously way above. Coordinating Minister Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, who just joined us live online, is the coordinating minister for marine and investments, and I think he has delivered a very key messages that all of us, the participants here, would like to take back when you go back to your various countries, that Indonesia is ready to lead this recovery stronger, but we have to recover together. So I would like to thank General Luhut Binsar Panjaitan for the nice opening speech, and he has some nice things to say about AVPN. So Naina has reminded me to say nice things also about AVPN. I'd like to mention also to the chairperson of AVPN, my very good friend, Ibu Veronica Kolondam. Thank you very much for having me. And of course, the CEO of AVPN, Ibu Naina Suberwal Batra, with the husband. Where are you? The husband, here. Behind every successful woman, there's always a strong man, yes. I'd like to also mention First Secretary Economy of Australian Embassy, Mr. Mark King. Senior Advisor of Ministry of National Development Planning, Bapanas, Mrs. Fifi Yulaswati. Also from Bank Rakyat Indonesia, Bapak Rofikoh Rohim, the commissioners, and also Deputy CEO of Temasek, and also Head of Center for Impact Investing and Practice, Mr. Boon Hyo Ng, who is also here with me. Executive Vice President of the Rockefeller Foundation, Miss Elizabeth Yee. And I was told that former minister, my very good friend, Bambang Brojonegoro, also is in the house. Where are you, Pak Bambang? Somewhere here? I think he's hiding somewhere back, but Bambang is my childhood friend, served as a minister in previous cabinets, and now is one of the leading advisors to many businesses. It's very tough when you speak one on top of the another of two government officials. So I will try to speak from the bottom of my heart. I am an entrepreneurial by DNA. I just got this assignment to be a public servant about 6 years ago. And this is actually a journey for me, together with my colleagues here. We have actually a full team. I've not seen a full team of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy present here, so please rise to be acknowledged, the team from Ministry. I've not seen 7 of the deputies are here. They'd like to welcome you to this event, and hopefully it's our appreciations for allowing Bali, Indonesia, to host its first in-person global conference post-pandemic. So you are part of history. Special thanks to all of you making it to Bali. At the VIP dinner yesterday, I was told that people come as far as Boston, and it is included. I'd like also to mention my very good friend, my mentor, Doug. Please rise to be acknowledged. I met Doug about 15, maybe 17 years ago, and when I was much younger, have more money, which taught me a lesson. If you have money, you should not go into politics. The recipe to become a millionaire is easy. Become a billionaire first, then join politics, then you become millionaire. Anyway, I met Doug before Naina, and the concept of venture philanthropic caught really my attentions, and I participated in some of discussions with Doug. And I believe in Singapore back about 10 years ago, I attended the AVPN conference, and I'm very delighted to be part of the AVPN email list, because at least twice a week, you would receive emails from AVPN, correct? Who has not received emails from AVPN in the last 10 days? Nobody. That means all of you receive this tremendous amount of emails, reminders, also call for actions. And this is typical of Naina, who wants us to be engaged. And this is actually an inspiration for us at the government. If you want to create engagement with the communities, you need to be really persistent. You need to also borderline aggressive to ensure that all of us be here. And I was told 1,100 of you are here for the AVPN Global Conference. Give a big hand to all of you. Well, for Indonesia and other countries in Asia, exchanging of ideas, collaborations, finding solutions, trying to find opportunities for better futures is a way of nature. 2 years, some people call it pandemic. I call it a contemplation. 2 years, we've seen all of our sectors of life have been devastated. 2 years, we saw close to 1.5 million jobs lost. 2 years of livelihood, which relies on many good quality jobs, was wiped out because of this pandemic. Therefore, it is very important that we need to be together to raise our collaborations, to join hands, to make sure that we take the best of the last 2 years that we have produced, the innovations, the adaptations, the collaborations that we have as part of how we chart our way forward. In Bali in particular, many lost jobs, many lost their incomes, some go back to farming, some go back to agriculture. A lot of the hotels were closed. This hotel that you're staying in, Westin, had 0 occupancy rate. Today, as we recover, and you're part of it, you're actually become the history of how tourism and creative economy as part of 34 million Indonesians' livelihood that depends on it would recover, but with a notch of better quality and better sustainability. The 3S of Bali and tourism, it used to be 3S. The sun, the sea, and the sand. The last 2 years, we're shifting it to the new 3S of tourism and creative economy, in particular Bali, which is the serenity, the spirituality, and the sustainability. We believe together we have done almost the unthinkable. During the pandemic, I got this appointment, December 2020. I got a call just after I recovered from COVID, within the next hours, by the president. So I asked the president, how do you know to call me? I just recovered 3 hours ago from COVID. And he said that I'm the president. I can get any information that I want. So I got a call to the palace, and he said that you're going to be in charge of tourism and creative economy. And at that time, tourism and creative economy was the most devastated because of the pandemic. Some people said it's actually a punishment from the president because I ran against him in the last election. But in the spirit of collaborations and in the spirit with all my colleagues, in the last 18 months, we have been able to increase 12 ranks in terms of tourism and travel development index from 44 up to number 32. We cracked the top 40 of the tourism and travel development index. And that's because we focus on quality over quantity. We focus on sustainability, focusing on nature and culture, and efforts such as community-based tourism, tourism village, and contributely, effectively, reducing inequality, focusing on promotions within the societies, digital, and very important, as we see, the two leaders of AVPN are women, Naina and Veronica. But if you see in my ministry, the women rules. So 3 of my deputies, in fact 4 of my deputies are women. My vice minister is a young woman. You will see this beautiful vice minister at closing speech. And my permanent secretary is also a woman. So not only at home, I'm controlled by women, but also at the office. And this is something that we learn, actually. If we share boardroom, if we share decision-making with the women, you will make a much better policies altogether because it's data-driven, it's focusing on creating economic opportunities for everyone. And I think, as one might say, it takes a village to raise a child. It is the same. Widest positive collaborative efforts to establish partnership in the spirits that AVPN Global Conference 2022 as part of the G20 side events will bring. I asked Naina, what is the theme? It's the Asian decade. I believe that there are few unstoppable trends in the world. Digitizations, environmental sustainability, global health architecture. Those are unstoppable trends. But the other unstoppable trend is the rise of Asia. I think China, India, and now Indonesia would be part of this ASEAN decade, and all of you are now congregating in Bali as particular epicentrum of the social entrepreneurial spirits. So we talk about blended finance, we talk about sustainable financing. And I think that's the way to go. I believe through AVPN and everybody who's participating here, we will be able to solve some of the problems that the world is facing through collaborations. Government cannot do it alone. Public-private partnership is the key, and across pentahelix, involving academia, business sectors, involving communities, and also media. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, through our collaborations, we could use some of the opportunities that this philanthropic network has created to subdue the devastating impact caused by pandemic. And as we transition into a better handle of the pandemic, transitioning into endemic stage, we will be able to recover together, recover stronger. I believe there are some aspects that we need to touch on this blended finance. I started ESG discussions way back in 2005 and transformed my private equity fund at that time to start embedding the ESG practices in our, at that time, a lot of people ask, why do we have to do this? It's like shooting ourselves in the foot, but apparently, 15 years later, I think my next generations at the fund now realize how embedding these practices of 3 Ps, planet, people, and prosperity, and with other 2 Ps of partnership and patience would be able to bring us into a better forward on how we could recover. I also like to showcase some of the collaborations that we have. During the pandemic, we have to also participate in the vaccinations. People ask why tourism minister is also jumping on the vaccination bandwagon. I said 34 million Indonesians live within the tourism and creative economy, and we need to get them to vaccinate and also get them to adopt the health protocol. And we are thankful that the participations of communities and business sectors, and I was asked to read this, I think Pak Hengki asked me to read this, the NSS group, to collaborate in terms of, I think it's a sponsorship from NSS group that Pak Hengki put it in my speech. Where are you, NSS? Are you supporting AVPN? Not yet? Your next year's sponsors will be NSS group. Because our budget will be cut next year. But NSS will step forward because somehow it's just made it to my talking points here, miraculously. Well, that's government official for you. I have to read my speeches prepared by a few of my deputies. But anyway, to close these philanthropic collaborations, I think health issues, environmental sustainability, you need to also focus on Tourism Village, one of our key programs going forward, whereby we are pushing homestays, amenities, sanitations at the center stage of how tourism not only is in the big hotel, 5-star hotels, but also within the homestays, and Tourism Village allow you to actually enjoy the serenity of village life. And there's a Penglipuran village here, whereby it is nominated by UNWTO and won the best tourism village of the world because of its cleanliness. And that's actually the core of the recovery. We want to recover with cleanliness, health, safety, and environmental sustainability. Some of our ideas in terms of preserving the environment, there's also our program called Net Zero Program, and we have a carbon footprint calculator. So for all of you, including Doug, who traveled from Boston, we have already calculated that in order for Doug to offset his carbon footprint, he needs to plant 35 trees. So have you prepared, Doug, your 35 trees? Or you need to plant 12 coral reefs, and we are providing for you. or if you choose mangrove, there's a mangrove plantations somewhere close to here, you're also available to offset your carbon footprint. And this is something that is tangible that AVPN can also bring, that we are here, we're not just theme provoking, but we're also doing the action, and it's actually on the ground. So I also would like to thank AVPN for these excellent opportunities to share the knowledge, expertise, build strategic operations, and networking to deliver solutions for the latest socio-economic hurdles. Finally, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Indonesian government to Indonesia and to the island of paradise, to Bali, and welcome to the AVPN Global Conference 2022. May we have a successful conference to spur and enhance economic recovery that will expand our ideas, businesses, create better quality jobs, create opportunities for our recovery together, recover stronger, and definitely recover better. I thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I close with Paramasanti. Om Santi 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 Om.
Thank you, His Excellency Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of the Republic of Indonesia. To join hands, to collaborate, that's excellent, leading into the next plenary. Writer Stuart Brand said, once a new technology rolls over you, if you are not part of the steamroller, you are part of the road. The innovation and skill that's needed to address today's sustainability challenges will come from technology, and our ability to harness its potential to bring about its greatest impact will depend on how well we collaborate together. Remember, we all want to be a part of the steamroller and not a part of the road. The APEC Sustainability Seed Fund was made possible through the collaboration of AVPN, Google.org, and ADB.
8 million tons of plastic per year being dumped into our ocean.
If we eat fish, we may be eating some plastic pieces as well.
At the time is urgent in terms of concrete steps that government and citizens.
The solution to the ocean plastic problem is on land. So you can spend all this time cleaning up the ocean, it's never going to end. What's going to make it end is how do we change how we do things? How do we deal with our waste in a different way?
Dari Banyuwangi sudah 10 tahun ngangkut sampah di Bali. Tapi kalau ini nggak diambil, tambah banyak lagi, terus-terusan kayak gitu kan. Benar kita dengan kondisi kayak gini udah jenuh gitu. Tapi kita terus berusaha untuk masyarakat biar lingkungannya bersih gitu aja.
There are over 1 million independent waste workers across Indonesia. It's a really hard job, and they're doing it with like such limited resources. Half the island has no waste collection. If your waste isn't collected, people start burning their garbage or throwing it in a canal or river. So the whole digital revolution has kind of completely missed the waste sector. Today, almost everyone has a smartphone, which means we can now address this problem in ways we couldn't imagine just 5 years ago. We started doing these trainings with high school students, building data sets of the actual things in the waste, to be able to quickly assess if you're going to one of these waste facilities, to see what's there, what the value is.
We collected all the images and then we transfer it to the Google Cloud platform. From there we can separate it in data sets and we train till we have the good model.
We first heard about the Google AI Impact Challenge through social media. If we want to be a trash tech company, we're going to probably use AI. Discovering AutoML, looking at TensorFlow. The big benefit in working with Google.org has been this connection with mentors. The last month and a half, we've done more tech development than we've ever done before. With this app, the waste collectors will have a map of their customers, so they'll know where their customers are and when they need to collect. They'll be able to receive payments for their service from their customers, and then they'll also be able to track what they've collected and what in the waste is recycled to know what value they'll get out of it. We're helping the collectors work better, do better, be more productive. If you want to solve this problem, you've got to support the people that are dealing with it every day, day in and day out. Waste is a man-made concept. There is no waste in nature. As we explain to people what's actually going on, this is how we can solve it, I think we'll get a lot of support. This is our chance to get the waste collected, sorted, recycled, and out of our rivers and oceans.
Please welcome back Naina Sabawa Batra, CEO of AVPN, and joining us on video, Michaela Browning, Vice President, Government Affairs and Public Policy, Google Asia Pacific, Ahmed Saeed, Vice President for East Asia, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific, ADB, to present Addressing Sustainability Challenges Through Technology.
Thanks, Dot. I think I've come up and down the stage a number of times now. Okay, so last year we launched our philanthropic digital transformation fund, which was a $1 million fund that was supported by Google.org to support post-COVID recovery in underserved communities in South Korea. So building on that successful partnership, we are thrilled to announce that AVPN has once again been trusted to manage a $3 million fund on sustainability, the Asia Pacific Sustainability Seed Fund. And this initiative is made possible with the support of Google.org, which is Google's philanthropy arm, and the Asian Development Bank, who has joined us as a strategic and outreach partner for the fund. The fund will provide support to non-profit organizations in 11 markets, including Australia, India, South Korea, Japan, New Zealand, Singapore, Taiwan, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Hong Kong. Organizations that are leveraging the use of technology in combating climate change and driving sustainability in areas such as biodiversity, air pollution, climate change, water preservation, and waste management. Through this fund, the selected winning nonprofits will not only be supported with funding, but will also gain access to Google's technology and Google's volunteers. So the financial capacity of the fund is $3 million. The non-financial support will be valued at an additional $3 million. As the Minister said, as we emerge from the worst effects of the pandemic, we are now faced with the increasing prevalence of climate-related events. These actually, as you saw in the video, is what is linked to the negative impacts of climate change. We face some of the harshest effects of climate change across the globe. More than 57 million people in our region were severely affected by climate-related disasters during 2021 alone. And the need for climate action has become a priority within our region. Sustainability is not only at the core of Park Sandy's mission, it is also at the core of AVPN's mission, which is why this landmark fund, with support from Google.org and strategic and outreach support from ADB, will help us to move closer to our vision of moving more capital towards impact. This is also in line with the spirit of this year's G20 theme to make Recover Together, Recover Stronger into meaningful, real actions that lead to a sustainable future. We have been putting sustainability as our priority area, and we've been building up a series of efforts to drive sustainability through the AVPN Climate Action Platform.
Incorporating our Connect, Learn and Act philosophy, the AVPN's climate action platform has now facilitated connections for more than 264 members and partners. We have published 38 original articles and publications focused on climate for our members to learn best practices around sustainability-related issues. And we have driven actions through 22 climate events that we've convened since 2019, showcasing 57 climate-related deals with a total portfolio of $75 million on our climate action platform. Leveraging our strength in networking and pipeline building through aggressive email outreach, in which we actively curate insight from our vast member network and impact organizations, AVPN has established partnerships with a variety of stakeholders in the field of climate and has invested our manpower into a series of research to understand the status quo. Our past research includes the landscape of climate finance and sustainability investment in Asia. Through this work, we have observed emerging trends and barriers within climate action in Asia and provided insights that can help both existing and new players to intervene more effectively and strategically. We have been working rigorously to unlock capital more effectively into climate solutions through building up a series of climate and sustainability initiatives with 600 of our network members, actively sourcing for solutions, supporting impact organizations with both financial and in-kind support, as well as facilitating consultation on G20 blended finance principles for sustainable development. But I think all of us know, right, there is a huge funding gap for climate and for sustainability, particularly in our region. And we will continue to stress how tremendous the potential is for all of you to join up and collaboratively make an impact in order to bridge this gap and lead the efforts to drive sustainability. We have the power to mobilize capital towards innovative solutions for climate change and invite all of you to be a part of this effort so that together we can accelerate the social and economic recovery of Asia post the pandemic. Through this fund, we are inviting innovative solutions in the areas of increasing access to renewable energy, decarbonization efforts, adaptation to the effects of climate change, biodiversity protection, water preservation, circular economy, air quality, and waste management. If you know of any organizations who are interested, please register in the open call for applications, which is there on our website. We aim to open a floodgate of urgently needed financing to address these issues, and we think this fund is just the beginning of that. Thank you.
Selamat pagi. I'm Michaela Browning, Vice President of Government Affairs and Public Policy for Asia Pacific at Google. First, I'd like to thank Naina Batra and the AVPN for hosting this wonderful gathering in Bali. I wish I was in Bali with you. It's such a great opportunity for public, private, and civic organizations to come together, exchange ideas, and focus on shared solutions to climate change and sustainability. Naina talked about the urgent need for climate action, and we at Google agree with her. Climate change is one of the biggest challenges of our generation, and we can't leave it to our children. Here in the Asia Pacific, people have experienced firsthand the devastating effects of climate change, from bushfires in my home country of Australia, typhoons in the Philippines, droughts, floods, rising sea levels, to name a few. More than half the world's population lives in this part of the world, but disturbingly, in the last year alone, around 57 million people were severely affected by climate-related disasters. For Google, sustainability has been one of our core values since we were founded. We've been carbon neutral since 2007, matching our annual electricity consumption with 100% renewable energy. But over the last 2 years, we've announced our most ambitious sustainability commitments ever. We are committed to achieving net zero emissions across all our operations by 2030, and to use technology to enable everyone to create and live in a more sustainable world. No one can tackle climate change alone. We are committed to helping organisations of all sizes. We want to build the technology ecosystem we need for more rapid decarbonisation globally. Let me give you some examples of what we're doing. At the Asian Development Bank Seeds event in March this year, Google's philanthropic arm, Google.org, announced the APAC Sustainability Seed Fund. This fund will support non-profits in Asia to address critical sustainability challenges such as air quality, water preservation, biodiversity and decarbonisation efforts. And today, we are very proud to share that AVPN will lead the $3 million Google.org grant initiative. And that's going to be open to non-profits across the Asia Pacific. Organisations who bring innovative tech-based solutions to sustainability challenges will be eligible to receive grants, technology, and Google volunteers to help them scale and further test their solutions. Earlier, you saw a video of Gringo Indonesia Foundation, which operates right here in Bali. They had a great idea to tackle waste management challenges using technology. And this is where Google came in to help them scale their solutions. So with Google.org funding and the use of Google's machine learning platform, TensorFlow, Gringo Foundation launched an app to help waste pickers to track the amount and type of waste collected, and they improve recycling rates by 35%. The program has also improved the livelihoods of more than 100 local Indonesians who were employed in Gringo's operations. We are thrilled to be partnering with the Asian Development Bank and have their support and expertise on this fund. The ADB will act as a strategic and outreach partner. It will bring valuable insights and connections as we foster emerging tech-based sustainability solutions across the region. We have a shared responsibility to address climate change and sustainability, and with partnerships we know we can do so much more. With AVPN, ADB and Google working together, we are confident we are going to be able to reach the most innovative non-profits developing some of the most promising tech solutions. We want to help them take those solutions to the next level. So if you know of any non-profits working in this space, please encourage them to register with AVPN. I'd like to also encourage you to join tomorrow's breakout session, Achieving Net Zero Through Technology. It's going to be at 2:45 p.m. Singapore time, and it will be discussing how technology can help social impact organisations and cities find innovative solutions to these challenges. Thank you all for joining today. Google is pleased to be working with our partners, and we're looking forward to what we can all achieve together.
Excellencies and distinguished participants, it's an honor to join you today for APVN's Global Conference and to briefly highlight some areas where digital technology can be harnessed to propel Southeast Asia's green recovery in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 has had an enormous toll on Southeast Asia, reversing hard-won gains in poverty reduction, exacerbating inequality, straining public services, and slowing economic growth. It's hard to say that there has been a silver lining, but one thing that has emerged that's been beneficial is the acceleration in the expansion of digital technology utilization in many areas, including health, education, and social protection. For example, in Makassar, Indonesia, a project supported by the ASEAN Australia Smart Cities Trust Fund and backed by ADB and the Australian government utilized digital and smart technologies to help officials map out the spread of the virus and more effectively mobilize responses in hotspots, in turn helping curb spread of the disease. It's important that we now turn towards leveraging digital innovations to help Southeast Asia transition to an even more green and more prosperous future. As the region continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, we must also address another crucial development priority, climate change. Last year at COP26, countries agreed on the urgent need to accelerate climate action. Climate action requires that we agree on goals for countries to embark on a pathway to a zero-carbon economy, and technology advancements backed by capital are needed to achieve this major acceleration. In that spirit, last year ADB, in partnership with Indonesia and other countries as well as other development institutions, introduced a new energy transition mechanism to leverage market-based approaches to accelerate countries' transition from fossil fuels to clean energy. This new mechanism will help crowd in investment in clean technologies such as smart grids, hydrogen, and electric vehicles. Last year, ADB also established a new Blue Southeast Asia Finance Hub based in Indonesia, which will work with countries to address the challenges in mitigating ocean pollution and adapting to climate change. In order to have maximum impact, we also have developed a pipeline of blue projects that improve the sustainability and conservation of the region's oceans, water bodies, and marine ecosystems. The pandemic has placed an enormous strain on country finances and presents a significant impediment to mobilizing climate-friendly financing. Accordingly, last year, we established the Asia-Pacific Tax Hub, a platform for knowledge sharing and development coordination, which also supports countries in applying new technologies to enhance revenue generation and finance a wide range of recovery measures. These are just some of the many areas where our institution is working with governments to help utilize technological innovation to drive forward green recovery. Earlier this year, at ADB's third Southeast Asia Development Symposium, Google announced a new initiative that will provide grant financing for innovative tech-based solutions to address key sustainability challenges. To this end, Google.org is supporting APVN's APAC Sustainability Seed Fund, which is now calling for proposals from NGOs in Asia and the Pacific to address critical sustainability challenges. We're honored that ADB is a strategic and outreach partner for this fund, which will help utilize technology to address climate change and other development challenges facing the region. I believe that in the coming decade, development and decarbonization will become inextricably intertwined. Digital innovations can help lower the cost of decarbonization technologies, and this in turn can attract the capital flows we need to drive change. By forging forward with technological change, countries in Southeast Asia can create new industries and high-quality jobs, while also addressing the region's most pressing development needs. I look forward to today's discussion on the means of harnessing technology to address Southeast Asia's most difficult development challenges and to accelerate the region's transition to a green, resilient, and inclusive recovery. Thank you so much for the privilege to be with you.
It is now time for morning tea break, and I see a lot of you have already gotten the message. So you can go for your tea break now, and breakout sessions will start at 11:15.